What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video, well, it's going to be another rant video about 2K, and it's not necessarily for what 2K have done, because I don't think what they've done is that bad. Like, the debate can go on forever whether what they did was bad or not, but what is no debate is that the timing of this is absolutely ridiculous, especially for MyTEAM players, and the exact same thing happened last year. So pretty much, like, 2K, we all know this with 2K, that the game is not very good. And in terms of, like, you see reviews, it gets high scores. If you don't know what you're doing, you will find 2K to be a very good game. But every single year, there is more and more exploits in the game. So if you're playing this game at a high level, you know that as a competitive video game, it just doesn't work. If you're at the level where you can green every single shot, you know that there is literally a 1 in probably, I'm guessing already 2 in 10 chance if you're using no meter, and probably 3 in 10 chance if you're using a meter, that a perfect release is going to be an auto miss or full white glitch or whatever it's called. Like, it's an auto miss without meters. The player leaves. You're sure you've released it properly, and your player holds a follow through and misses 100% of the time. I saw in the Splash Edition about it. We were literally just testing it out for a while. That still is the case. Like, it exists without the shot meter, the full white glitch, or auto miss. Calling it a full white glitch makes it seem like it's bad timing. It's an auto miss mechanic programmed into the game. But anyway, we're not talking about that. But we all know that one of the most overpowered tactics in the game. Like, yeah, sure, we've got rim running, we've got 5 out, and they are so overpowered. And ironically enough, like, rim running 5 out is still really, really overpowered way of playing the game all these years later, but it never won't be. Like, if you can beat a player one-on-one with the ball in your hands, 5 out will always be a great option. Just like in the NBA with Giannis, nobody can stop Giannis one-on-one, so they surround him with shooters in a 5 out setting, so teams either have to zone him up, or Giannis goes by them to help in, he kicks the shooters. Like, that's a perfectly good tactic. But the explosive behind the back was just patched today. And if you guys don't know what it is, basically it was a behind the back move that you managed to get so much of a speed boost out of the behind the back move that it was like going into full sprint from a standstill. So what people would do is they'd set a screen and they'd run the behind the back off the screen and then run into deep range with a point guard and just stop on a dime and shoot a limitless 3. And the elite players could literally do this to get an open 3 on almost every possession. And if you did cover the behind the back, all it meant was that the roll guy was wide open under the basket. If you switched it or anything, then there was mismatches. So hence you were seeing a lot of Penny Hardaway being ran at point guard and T-Mac being the primary ball handler. So was the behind the back move overpowered? Of course. Should it have ever been in the game? No. Should it be patched? That's like, again, that is completely up for debate, because it's a completely unrealistic move. It's an exploit. But you know what? Like, if you know how to do it, it's a lot of fun spamming it. It is a lot of fun just flying around the court. And, like, I don't know, like, no one's ever going to win the debate. The way I want 2K to be isn't the way you guys want 2K to be. And that's why I hate the way when people are like, oh, it's great that it's gone, it means players play with high IQ. It doesn't change anything. It just means that instead of behind the backing around screens, people are going to L2, protect the ball, and slowly walk into screens and just run back out even faster. Like, as someone who didn't know how to do the behind the back until 3 or 4 days ago and runs pick and pops every play, it's not going to change the meta at all. But it just doesn't look as crazy as seeing someone flying around the court doing constant behind the backs. So, yeah, pretty much that is what has happened. But again, this isn't a debate on whether they should have patched it or not, because again, there are two sides to this. There's the guys who want to just play the game for fun, want to feel like they're unstoppable, and let's be real, it's a lot more fun being a ball handler when you've got all these unrealistic dribble moves and you can get to the basket than it's going to be post behind the back, meaning that dribbling is basically worthless right now. There is no need to dribble. Like, there's actually none. So anyone saying you need to get your dribble moves up, you actually don't need to dribble anymore at all, especially in MyTEAM. Dribbling has now been completely eradicated, the ability to dribble. But again, a lot of people think that that is a good thing, and then obviously there's people on the other side that think it's a bad thing. But what I'm going to be talking about is something that's happening in 72 hours. So the 250k tournament is happening, and I'm not going to jump the gun, but if it has the same problems as last year, where like literally it was a case of the higher seed you were the home team and the away team always hosts. So basically, if you were a higher seed, you didn't host the game, and if you were on different servers to the lower seed, you lost. It was an auto loss. Like playing on cross, no specific servers, playing like cross server games, at that high level, it just doesn't work. Like trust me, you cannot beat. No one in the world is beating Splash Edition on Cross Continent Light. No one in the world is beating Ty Debo or any one of those 32. No one is winning a game against anyone else that is qualified, playing with cross server delay. So if it is a case of there being server issues like last year, I'm telling you guys right now, that tournament is going to be a shambles. But again, just like last year, 2K decided to patch the main way of playing right before the tournament. And if this was just a random tournament, that would be fine. But this tournament is for $250,000. And look, for me, for you, there is not one person watching this unless you're one of these 32 that will really get much relevance from this video. But what I think is an absolute joke is that 2K have, like, not they have the ability, they are literally going to change somebody's life. They're going to change one of the 32 players, and from what we've seen this year, it's going to be someone different. I'm sorry, Skip, if you are watching this. Skip to my lose been flooded enough times by Ty Debo that it will be a miracle if he wins again. So very, very likely that 2K, it's going to be a new winner, and the 2K are going to be completely changing the life of somebody. Like, 250,000. That's enough for some people to set them up pretty much for life. Obviously, whatever the tax situation is in some places tax winnings, others don't. But like, there are genuinely some of these guys in it that could use that money to buy a house, that could have their whole family set up for life with this money. And what do? They take away the biggest thing that every player in this competition uses. So, and not even give them a week. Patch this in December. Patch this December. Like, imagine if they patch this December the 15th. No one would say a word. Like, there'd be a little bit of uproar, but nobody could complain like this if it was patched on December the 15th. They've got another month to practice for the last qualifier, and also they've got plenty of time to change up their playstyle for the 250k tournament. But they didn't. They patched it on the Wednesday when the tournament is on the Friday, or on the Saturday. There are so many players. Like, some players will adapt. Like, this is no longer a tournament based on who's the best player in the game. Because everyone's saying, oh, this is great, it's the player with the highest IQ that wins the tournament. It isn't. This is going to be a case of who adapts best to having to completely change their game, or who finds out the new abusive meta. Who can find out the new meta the quickest? Who can find out a meta in 3 days? Because nobody found out. It took longer than 3 days before people to find out behind the back. And it's literally going to be a case of who can find out the new meta the quickest, assuming servers work. If servers don't work properly, then it's just literally whoever gets host wins the tournament, and there's nothing that can be done about that. But it's gotten to the stage where it's like, literally, whoever can adapt and figure out the meta wins. Not the best player. Because players have had 3-4 months to figure out the meta. They've had 3-4 months to figure out a playstyle. They've had 3-4 months to figure out how they can be or compete with the best players in the world, and how to give themselves a better chance of changing their life from this game. But what 2K have done is they've completely taken that away 3 days in advance. Like, imagine Fortnite. Imagine if Fortnite decided, okay, I don't know, half of our guns are overpowered. And, imagine if they said building is overpowered. Let's nerf building 3 days before the World Cup. That would be national news. That would be literally national news. But, like, this is just 2K being 2K. They did it last year as well. Like, the shocking test was broken last year. As in, if your player, like, if you had a 6 foot tall point guard, you could literally jump at people, and people at base 11 would just rise up above them and shoot in your face. Like, that was a massive flaw. They patched it 4 days before the tournament. Again, everyone had been using it for months, and then randomly it got patched. So, That was a huge, huge problem. But this time is even worse because last year, base 11 meta, sure, it was a thing, but there was other ways of playing the game. Because of the way the game was, there was no quick first step, the blow by wasn't an issue, the turbo ball or NASCAR or just running towards the basket, rim running, wasn't an issue last year. There were so many different ways of playing last year. You could play in the post, you could post fade abuse, whereas this year, post fades are useless, post hooks are worthless. There is literally, I think, 2 ways now of playing this game. There is L2 trying to force people to step under screens, like constantly nudging them towards the screen, force them to step under, then sprinting into space. There is Yao Ming cheese, and there is rim running. That's it. That is it. Even without the behind the back. At least the behind the back meant there was 4 ways of playing the game. But there's going to be some other new way of breaking the meta. I don't know what it is. I don't think any of these guys know what it is. None of these guys have planned for what it is. So the next 3 days is going to be a bunch of guys who potentially could win a life-changing amount of money, who had been confident in the team they were running, who had been confident in the players they were running, now having to scrape at anything they can find, trying to figure out a new way of playing a game that they are experts in, that they're the best in the world in. So, I just don't know what 2K's logic is. Do they, like, obviously, they don't seem to want any exploits being in the game for these big tournaments, but let's be real. Let's be real. If the 2K community is good at anything, it's finding ways of abusing the meta. And there will be a new way of abusing the meta. And I'm telling you this right now, it's going to be worse than the behind the backs. It's going to be worse than the behind the backs. But yeah, so anyway, that is the video. 2K patching the behind the back, not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing, but that's a debatable. 2K patching it 3 days before the 250k, now that's a joke. That is a joke. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.